Raksha Mantri made a statement in Parliament, in both houses. He said that our braves stood tall and firm and pushed back the Chinese provocateurs. The PLA troops were given a thrashing. There's also a viral, undated video that is being cheered by the people in the country. But there are some, the cynic Sena, who by habit are once again out to malign our braves. Even as Indian government makes it clear that Chinese soldiers were pushed back decisively by our alert and brave troops in Tawang, the likes of Mehbooba Mufti is not convinced. It doesn't stop here. This is despite the fact that an earlier undated video from along the line of actual control shows, and we will put out that video, there you go, how the Indian army gives the Chinese a bloody nose every single time they try a misadventure. Remember, this video of Indian troops from the LAC shows how soldiers pushed back the PLA when they tried to scale a peak where India has a post. But what does Mehbooba Mufti say? She insists that China is occupying Indian land in Jammu and Kashmir and Arunachal, and that Indian troops were not allowed to retaliate. In fact, she has gone on to say that the Indian troops were beaten up. You have to listen to this to believe what she has said.
I've already said that they have already, occupied our land in Ladakh. They have also occupied land in Arunachal Pradesh as per the, statement given by the BJP member parliament. But unfortunately, BJP is doing nothing about it. Our soldiers have been beaten up by them. They are not allowed to retaliate. This is a very sorry state of affairs. Very sorry.
It's a sorry state of affairs that our braves have thrashed the Chinese. Mehbooba Mufti thinks it is unfortunate. She has turned the narrative around to say what is not true. She says our forces were beaten up. But what is this assertion based on? That's the question. When did PDP chief find that Indian soldiers were stopped from retaliating? Far from what she is claiming, this LAC video from earlier in the year clearly demonstrate Indian soldiers defending their territory stoutly. Armed with clubs and batons, they pushed back the Chinese who were advancing aggressively. Mind you, this is pretty much the same sequence of events that happened in Tawang. And the defense minister has put it in black and white. In fact, he said it in a statement also in Parliament.
चाइना के इस प्रयास का हमारी सेना ने दृढ़ता के साथ सामना किया है अध्यक्ष महोदय, और इस फेस ऑफ में हाथापाई भी हुई है। भारतीय सेना ने बहादुरी से पीएलए को हमारी टेरिटरी में अतिक्रमण करने से रोका और उन्हें उनकी पोस्ट पर वापस जाने के लिए मजबूर कर दिया अध्यक्ष महोदय, कि हमारे किसी भी सैनिक की न तो मृत्यु हुई है और न ही कोई गंभीर रूप से घायल हुआ है।
जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मोदी सरकार चल रही है, 1 इंच जमीन पर भी कोई कब्जा नहीं कर सकता। कल अपने सेना के जवानों ने जो 8 की देर रात को और 9 की सुबह को जो वीरता दिखाई है, मैं इसकी बुरी प्रशंसा करता हूं। इन्होंने घुसे हुए सभी लोगों को कुछ ही घंटों में वापस खदेड़ दिया और हमारी भूमि का रक्षण किया है।
Mehbooba Mufti is no stranger to army bashing or Bharat bashing. Pradeep Datta, senior editor, is joining us. Pradeep Datta, Mehbooba Mufti stands with those who slander our braves, who attack our braves. She has always stood with pelters who used to pelt stones at our Jawans. And today, she is once again maligning their image and misleading the country by saying their hands were tied, our forces were beaten.
Pranesha rightly said that where from she got this information that their hands were tied and they didn't react or retaliate. I think visuals speak 1,000 words, even if it is an undated video. You can look at this video and how our forces were able to thrash and push back Chinese. I think they are going to remember this forever. And if we talk about the Galwan also, No doubt our 20 soldiers were martyred, but we were able to react in a strong manner and give them a befitting response, and more than 45 of them were killed, the Chinese soldiers. That's one of the reasons that they did not continue with that misadventure what they had planned to do, because it was the befitting response from their side. Mehbooba Mufti is a part of the same doubters lobby which will always keep on asking for proof, and they will try to politicize valor of our soldiers on the ground. Everybody knows the Indian army is one of the best army, and whether it was the first surgical strike, whether it was the second surgical strike, or whether it was the reaction after the Galwan incident, I think Indian troops have shown that paradigm shift in the military strategy. No more they depend on the defensive policy. They believe in the offensive strategy, and that is what they have done it. Look at all these videos. In all these videos you will realize that how they are hitting hard Chinese where it's hurting them most. But unfortunately, Mehbooba Mufti will try to give such statements where she will try to demoralize. But I am sure that the statements are not going to make difference. But yes, it's very painful that being the former Chief Minister of the state, and you had also been chairing the Unified Command meeting, you very well know how our army acts and reacts in such situation. Everybody knows how India had sent the Chinese soldiers with a bloody nose, and such a situation where you can't even breathe properly, and our troops are fighting against the enemy on two fronts. On one side we have got a treacherous Pakistan, on the other side we have got traitor like China. Instead of trying to give a pat on their back for doing a commendable job, Mehbooba Mufti is simply trying to say that they have been beaten up. She is not only trying to malign image, but she is also trying to
Pradeep, just
belittle their
thoughts.
supreme.
Let's put this to Colonel RSN Singh. Needs no introduction. RSN Singh, who do you think is briefing Mehbooba Mufti on the back of which she is saying that our forces were beaten up?
No, there is the International Liaison Department of China, which functions right here from the Chinese embassy. It is the external intelligence organization or the political arm of the Chinese Communist Party of India, whose job is to draw linkages with various political parties all over the world, and they have done it with some 160 political outfits, oblique groups. In almost 160 countries, and this is the ILD which has its links or on its payroll, people of various political shades, including Mehbooba Mufti and others, and then people in the Congress party. It was with the ILD that the Congress has signed that MOU, in 2008. In that famous photograph that you see, this is a gentleman from the ILD being overlooked under the benign presence of Xi Jinping and Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi signing that MOU. So when you ask me this a specific question, I'm giving a very specific answer that they are all under the influence or payroll of their master called the ILD, the International Liaison Department of China. And she will say what they want them to say. You remember that you must judge the timing of this entire incident in Arunachal Pradesh. This is the time when
the parliament session has resumed. I get your point, Colonel Saab, I get your point, but I also want to ask you about an undated video, sir, that has gone viral. But what is absolutely clear, and there is no doubt about that fact, is the one where our forces have actually bashed up the Chinese. It's clear. But the likes of Mehbooba Mufti, even on a day like this, when the country is cheering the video, celebrating the valor of our forces, is saying things like these.
No, do you want the Indian Army to get certificates on convertees? People who converted to Islam for 2 kgs of rice? Do you draw a parallel between their courage and the courage of the Indian Army? I am talking in civilizational terms now, which I must. There are no prizes here for secularism, and I'm not no one to claim these prizes, but Mehbooba Mufti and her ilk.
Right.
who are part of the PLA gang. Earlier she converted for 2 kgs of rice, and now she has been.
I understand your sentiment completely, Colonel RSN Singh. Thank you for speaking to us and thank you for putting that in context. Colonel Rohit Deb also joining us. Colonel Deb, before I come to you, allow us to play out what Mehbooba Mufti actually said.
I've already said, occupied our land in Ladakh. They have also occupied land in Arunachal Pradesh as per the, statement given by the BJP member parliament. But unfortunately, BJP is doing nothing about it. Our soldiers have been beaten up by them. They are not allowed to retaliate. This is a very sorry state of affairs. Very sorry.
Colonel Rohit Deb is with us. Lieutenant General Raj Kadyan also joining us. Colonel Deb, what do you make of what Mehbooba just said, that our forces were beaten up?
See, there are two things, Pranay, I would like to tell you here. The measure of the Indian soldier is not in the, these self-convoluted remarks of politicians like Mehbooba. I'm very sorry to take her name as well, because it absolutely does not augur well for people of that stature to comment so loosely on our braves. I mean, have you seen the videos? Have you seen what happened in Galwan? Have you not seen what happened in Doklam? I want to ask this question to these politicians. So from Doklam till today, haven't you seen the saga of bravery of a soldier along the LSC? And she's from J&K. Let me point out to her the last remark which she made, that the hands are tied of the soldiers. I think that era went in July of 2014 when late Shri Jaitley visited the Baramulla sector. And there was a soldier on record who said that hands are tied, and he freed the hands. Tell me, where is the entire hierarchy of the terrorists which are infused by Pakistan currently in Kashmir? Most of them have been knocked down. Where is the entire ecosystem which was living off the money of counterfeit money post the demonetization which has happened? So I think these people should talk less. They should assimilate the geopolitics and military matters a little better before they come on air and talk something.
That, Colonel Deb, while Mehbooba Mufti is saying, she's actually trying to sound sympathetic to the Indian army, our forces don't need this sympathy because this is fake, and the reason this is fake, and Pradeep Datta is also with us. Pradeep, every time army goes after those who want to disrupt peace, the likes of Mufti come out in protest. They have left no opportunity to berate and malign our forces in the past.
See, if we go by the statements of Mehbooba Mufti, everybody knows that there has hardly been any distinction between the separatist sentiment and the mainstream political party narrative, because she had always been playing that soft separatism card, and that competitive soft separatism is something that is harming people of Kashmir as well as people of India. And I think this is the biggest ever betrayal when she is coming out with a very loose statement. I think when you look at this video, Pranesh, one chest swells with pride when you see how the Indian troops are thrashing Chinese.
And I'm joined by Lieutenant General Raj Kadyan. Sir, sorry to keep you waiting, sir. I had a bad line with you. What do you make of what Mehbooba Mufti had said? General Kadyan.
Yeah, I have not heard Mehbooba Mufti's comments, but the video that is being shown is not of Tawang, because Tawang incident took place at 3 a.m. at night.
That's right, sir.
This daylight video. So whatever she has said does not pertain to Tawang if she is referring to this video. The Chinese troops came in large number, about 300. Our troops were already ready. They had some prior information as per the knowledge I have. And they were reinforced within half an hour. There was a melee, there was a scuffle. But both sides got injured. Luckily, India did not suffer serious injuries. 6 Jawans were evacuated to Guwahati. So anything other than that, these videos are some Photoshop. They are not real. Nobody can do a video recording of a sudden attack by either side. Tawang, in any case, happened in dark at night. So how can this video be of Tawang?
Absolutely. The video may not be of Tawang, but there is no doubt about the valor that has been captured of our forces, bashing up the Chinese, giving them a bloody nose. Pradeep Datta, thank you for joining us. Lieutenant General Raj Tadian, thank you for speaking to Times Now, sir. Major General S.P. Sinha also with us. Sir, good afternoon. Thank you for speaking to Times Now. Your thoughts on what Mehbooba Mufti has said? She says our braves were beaten up by the Chinese.
I think she only believes in one maxim: false propaganda and false propaganda and false propaganda. She has never displayed her true national feelings, nationalism feeling. And I've been observing her comments. She said that if 370 is removed, there'll be nobody to carry the flag, Indian flag. She has been directly, indirectly supporting Pakistan. She has been harping on the theme that Indian government should talk to Pakistan government. And her stance is very clear. She is the front face of Pakistan in Jammu and Kashmir. So to expect that she will give us a loyal statement in favor of Indian Armed Forces or Indian Army or nation, I think it may not be correct. So I'm not baffled and surprised by the statement made by Mehbooba. She is not loyal to this country. She has looted Jammu and Kashmir. She has misused government funds. And there was no CAG, Comptroller Auditor General audit in Jammu and Kashmir. And of that, they took advantage.
Right.
So I think her loyalty to the nation is absolutely, there's no loyalty to the nation. So
and this is not the first time that is slandering our braves. Major General S.P. Sinha, thank you for speaking to us. Pradeep, thanks for your inputs. The reason why the Chinese are so baffled is because of the massive infrastructure development in Arunachal Pradesh. Times Now is the first channel to report from the site of the clash, getting you minute-by-minute updates of Army's preparedness and the build-up of infrastructure at the border. This is a detailed report sent by Priyank Tripathi.